Kick-off serenaded in style once again by the Blue Noses around St Andrews at Knighthead Park. Moons, Cambridge United have stuck with Gary Monk despite their league position. What do you expect from a struggling youth side who come here with nothing to lose, rock bottom?
Well, they do have nothing to lose, as you rightly say, Matt. I think we just have to look at Saturday for Birmingham. That was their cup final. They've performed and exceeded expectation with their performance level. Cambridge need to do that tonight to get something out of the game. Remains to be seen whether their players can do exactly as Birmingham's did. Looks to be a similar situation given and formation given the change from pre-game. I don't envisage any difference in style of play. Certainly formation looks exactly the same, and it will be a challenge. They'll try and put Birmingham under pressure. It's about how quickly and successful Birmingham can pass and move the ball and create opportunities to score goals.
Ben Davies picked up the ball early on the edge of the 18-yard box. Blues kicking towards the Gil Merrick in this first half. Ben Davies, who of course produced those heroics against Joe Willock as he looked to wrap the game up with Newcastle's fourth goal on the line in what was a heroic performance all across the turf for Blues, who certainly put themselves back in the public consciousness with the world watching on Saturday. You've heard all the commentators and the pundits in the days after saying, you know, they've almost forgotten just what a fortress and what an intimidating cauldron that St Andrews can be, and how Blues deserve to be back in the Premier League, and that we do, and that's where our journey continues here this evening as Michael Morrison's first involvement, the captain for Cambridge United this evening, is to shepherd the ball behind away from Jay Stansfield. Reunited with Gary Monk, of course. Morrison, after working under him here at Blues, making his 760th career start, the Cambridge United centre-back.
Some career, isn't it? The way that he's gone on, the way that he continues to back himself to keep playing, and certainly this St Andrews atmosphere, pitch and stadium won't be any surprise to him, as opposed to some of his teammates.
Yeah, and Cambridge United, you know, we spoke about a banana skin, a potential upset that they're looking for. They have nothing to lose coming here tonight, but everything to gain. Just the one win on the road for them this season in League One, the worst away record in the division, a big part of the story as to why they are where they are. Their only away win came all the way back in October at the Lamex. They're one of the rare teams to beat Stevenage on their home turf this season. That's 7 points from a possible 45 away from home for Gary Monk's side this season. They've won themselves a free kick on the halfway line. Instantly seek out to that right-hand side where Bennett's providing the width from wing-back, but he can't keep the ball in play. A long, raking diagonal ball, and it's a goal kick to Blues. But Cambridge certainly showing an interest early on, as you mentioned, Moons. It's imperative for them that they make a bright start with all the odds stacked against them here at one of the best home forms in the division. Something that man Gary Monk will know all too well.
Yeah, it's so important. Like I said earlier, these Birmingham players don't underestimate the opposition, don't underestimate the opportunity that they have to put themselves in an even better league position after tonight's game. And how quickly can they get in a rhythm that they did so well on Saturday evening against a Premier League team flying high.
Yeah, chance to go 7 points clear at the top of League One this evening. As Williamson whips the ball into the penalty area. Acrobatic clearance to stop Stansfield getting there by Kelland Watts, the late call-up for Cambridge inside the 6-yard box. But again, we see Pek Sung-ho immediately slotting back into that system that he deployed, where he just floats out to that left-hand side and links up play beautifully.
Well, we talked so many times in the early stages of the season about how important the relationship between Pek and Iwata was, and you know, it's taken a little time, but finally they've got the partnership back together. How quickly can they hit the ground running and contribute to both defensively and attacking? An enormous impact that they had in the early stages.
Iwata wins the ball high for Blues and looks to steer it into the penalty area. Keshi Anderson was arriving around the back. Liam Bennett matched him stride for stride and took no chances, conceding the first corner of the game.
Yeah, it's a second good ball in a minute into the goal-scoring area. The first Willemsen. That time it was a Watter. Lovely pace ball. It was just Keshi Anderson was just too far outside of the back post.
Liam Bennett looks like a proper old-school fullback, shirt tucked in, as he came across to slice that behind for a corner. Dal will take first big opportunity of the game from the set piece. The header is a Cambridge one. Nathan Bishop had to be careful underneath his own crossbar, but provided the catch on what is his second Cambridge United appearance between the sticks. He was on loan at Wycombe at the start of the season and was in goal when Blues beat the Chairboys by 3-2 at Adams Park at the start of the campaign, but has traded the top of League One for the basement of it. Coming into the sticks for Cambridge United, as Blues once again look to tighten their grip early on of this fixture, as Cochrane floats a delightful ball into Stansfield, who just missed it by all of an inch with the attempted glancing header.
Well, it's the third ball into a goal-scoring area, and Stansfield just not sure whether he was confident he wasn't going to take any contact on his head there, but he's just thrown his neck at it. Any touch there was so much pace on the ball. Really is the third excellent ball into a goal-scoring area.
Jay Stansfield, a brace on his last league game here against Rotherham United. Of course, was certainly kicking himself after the Newcastle game, that gilt-edged opportunity in the first half, created by this man, Keshi Anderson, who once again put another tally in his goal involvement column against Newcastle United. That's now 14 goal involvements in 29 games for Keshi Anderson this season. Another player who's been nigh unplayable in 2025, Ethan Laird on this near side, but he's lost it right on cue as Kachunga looks to squeeze it towards Ryan Loft, who will be spearheading the Cambridge United attack this evening. He doesn't get any change out of Ben Davis, and the ball runs through to Ryan Alsop. 0-0. We've had 7 minutes here at St Andrews at Knighthead Park, but Blues certainly asserting their authority very early on against the team rock bottom of League One, and looking for that early breakthrough to put any lingering nerves to bed, as Anderson looks for it, but the decision has gone against Keshi Anderson. I'm not sure if it might have been a handball in there.
It certainly looked like it just bounced up on him off his first touch, but the early stages, you can see Cambridge are setting out with that. It is a 5 at the back. It's definitely not a 3 at the back with extra width in midfield. It's a 5 at the back. They're getting their shape back as quickly as they can with that 5, and then 4 in front of them. We're leaving Loft as the only striker. Not sure they have the pace of other teams that have tried that counter-attacking formation, but it's certainly up to Birmingham to move it as quickly as they can, and they've already showed they're willing to put crosses into the box. We've just got to get bodies in the right place at the right time, because the first goal here either makes it more difficult for Birmingham or it could kill the game off.
Clara brings the ball over the halfway line, and a cracking ball to find Keshi Anderson down the left-hand side. Anderson is onside, helped out by Pek Sung-ho. And now Keshi Anderson, square it goes to Iwata, still on the edge of the penalty area, rolls it back to Alex Cochrane. Now Peck, nonchalant ball towards Keshi Anderson, just holding tight towards the left touchline. It's a good combination play between the three of them. Stansfield, though, his pass looking for Anderson off target, picked up by Bennett, but Cambridge have made a bit of a mess of sorting themselves out at the back. Eventually, though, it's Jubril Okadina who can provide the clearance downfield for the U's. Stansfield picks up the loose ball and works it to Cochrane down that left-hand side again, and Blues will just reset inside our own territory with Christoph Clara. 0-0, but certainly Blues have had all the possession inside these opening 10 minutes, just looking to pick this lock. And you know, Chris Davis speaks about the template, in inverted commas, that some teams in League One come here and employ against a side with one of the best home forms in the division. And certainly, as you mentioned, Cambridge have come here and laid out in that way, just to try and halt Blues from playing. As Keshi Anderson robs it deep, but there's Stansfield, deflected. It goes wide via a block from Jubril Okadina. Last-ditch defending from the right centre-back. Stansfield's first glance at goal.
It was. He's got himself in a good position. It was poor from Cambridge, but that quick thinking from Anderson and a nice pass. I actually think Stansfield's had a second thought about hitting it first time and then realised he can still do it. maybe his standing foot's just slipped a little bit on his weaker side. That's when he can just poke it in first time there.
Second corner of the game for Blues. Dow delivers left-footed. Down goes Davis. Nothing doing by the referee. Calls for shoot as soon as Iwata picked the ball up in a similar position to where he did unleash that rocket on Saturday night, to be fair. And it's loaded back into the penalty area, but Cambridge United managed to field that only as far as Clara. Clara picks out Willemsen. On the overlap is Iwata. He nudges it through to Tomoki Iwata down the right-hand side. Iwata just bringing the pace of the game to that of a walking one, and Willemsen looks to pick out Keshi Anderson with the cross into the penalty area. Heavy touch by Loft, out, falls only for Ben Davis. He can go square to Alex Cochrane, and Blues can continue our chokehold over the fixture as we tick up to 11 minutes. Iwata out to this near side, the right for Ethan Laird. Blues patient but purposeful once again, and just looking to work Cambridge hard inside the opening quarter of an hour.
Yeah, I think it's so important. You've got to keep your heads up. You can't get sick of having possession of the ball and trying to break teams down. We've seen it several times this season already, where they just want to stay in their defensive shape from the middle of their half and try and break the confidence of Birmingham.
Ethan Laird trying to do that to the U's as he finds Iwata about 5 yards outside the penalty area. Delightful ball to find Peck, left corner of the box. Rolls it back to Cochrane, centre of the park. Cochrane back for Iwata. Blues with some good combination play. Was Willemsen caught? Yes, he was. Deems referee Darren Drydale. And the free kick goes Blues' way. At the moment, though, that combination play, just running circles around Cambridge United. The U's chasing shadows.
They are, but they're not breaking the last line of defence. I think, yes, they've put a couple of good crosses into the box, but that build-up is exactly what's required. And the flexibility of the formation as well. Plenty of times already we've seen Dowell leave his right-hand side and get over onto the left, and Willemsen in that 10 slot, his speed of foot and speed of thought there wins the free kick in a really good opportunity now.
Yeah, not sure which infringement the referee pulled it back for, whether the block on Keshi Anderson or the trip on Willem Willemsen, but both in very similar positions. And it's a position that Kieran Dowell has lined this up for about 25 yards, left of centre. Dowell has elected his left foot, Pek Sung-ho is right. The Cambridge wall is ready and directed by referee Drydale. And it will be Dowell to hit it. Got it over the wall, didn't get it back down in time to trouble Nathan Bishop, and it sails over into the Gil Merritt behind. 0-0.
Yeah, I'd be disappointed with that. You have to hit the free kick on target and test the goalkeeper. Mentioned he's not played an awful lot of football, certainly in the last couple of weeks, and looked a little bit shaky on the things he's had to do. You have to test the goalkeeper with set pieces like that. It's a bonus really for Cambridge. We've let them off the hook with early chances up to now, but still positive, still bossing the game as you'd fully expect, and still plenty of time.
Yeah, Kieran Dowell still looking like an absolute scalp of a loan signing. Just adds that degree of creativity that Blues sometimes are missing in those offensive areas, as you say, on nights like this when a team is asking Blues to break that last line of defence down. Oh, what a ball that is by Cochrane. A great pick out for Keshi Anderson, who's taken into his stride, pinball in the penalty area, and eventually Cambridge can scramble it away from inside their 6-yard box. What a ball by Cochrane, and then Anderson with the awareness to pull it back into a dangerous area, but Cambridge got enough bodies back there to scramble it away. Well,
we talked earlier about the relationship between Iwata and Peak. Cochrane and Keshi Anderson are really building a strong one down that left-hand side, and it was almost just the intuition from Keshi Anderson that he knew Cochrane had it in his locker to find that pass. Wonderful run, wonderful way to pass, and it was actually so unlucky, wasn't it, because the pullback was there was two waiting for it, and I actually think it's hit the defender's heel without him knowing anything about it to prevent a certain tap-in.
And as we tick up to the quarter of an hour mark, Cambridge just don't have an out ball at the moment. That time Nathan Bishop missing the mark with the kick aimed for the young Dan Barton. Only his 5th league start for Cambridge, the number 36 on this near side. As Willem Willemsen looks to pull the strings from deep, but he's run into trouble and lost it quite cheaply. Cambridge United get their foot on the ball in an offensive position for the first time in the game. Momentarily doesn't last long, but then Kachunga can win it back and Morrison can help it across to Watts and their own defensive line. Watts over the halfway line now. Loft comes short to look to link things up, peels away from Davis, but can't sort his feet out in time to make connection, and it rolls through to Ryan Alsop. Ryan Alsop, whose touches have been a premium in the opening 15 minutes or so, as the thin layer of mist begins to descend upon St Andrews in the second city, illuminated by the floodlights above us at St Andrews. And Blues just look to re-establish our dominance on this fixture. 0-0, but all the goal-mouth action coming Blues' way. Ryan Alsop with yet for any action to note. As Peck looks to pick out Stansfield, he almost did, you know. It was Watts who stepped out to make the block, but Stansfield's got it in a bit of space, out of his feet now. Ethan Laird to the right-hand side. Laird will put it back. Morrison misses his clearance. Thankfully for him, a Cambridge defender was up his back to scramble the ball away, and then Kachunga feels the full force of Clara in his back and goes down, and Cambridge will have a free kick and a bit of resolve for the away side, rock bottom of League One. 0-0.
Yeah, another good opportunity. It's just that final pass in and around the 18-yard box, this time from Ethan Laird. Little bit concerning that there's not too many bodies going in the box when the ball's in wide areas. It's been one or two. I'd love to see a couple more, because there's so many Cambridge shirts because of the way that they've packed the defensive block. But like you said earlier, Cambridge, when they do have possession, rarely have it for long because they're so tired from defending. Ryan Loft up there on his own. He is an old school number 9, Loft. He's not one that's going to turn the game on his own.
It's a great pick out by Iwata to find Anderson, who can barrel Blues up the field down the left-hand side. Anderson looked for that inside ball, looking for Stansfield on the deck, but that's cut out by Okadina. Cochrane whips the ball in towards the back post, missed by Barton. Ethan Laird round the back, couldn't capitalise, but Blues do win a corner kick. The last touch off of the young wing-back.
Well, it's another brilliant delivery from Cochrane. Picks out his spot. Pretty sure the ball bounces in the 6-yard box. Can think of many managers over my past that would be screaming blue murder now. If a ball bounces in the 6-yard box, it has to be a goal.
So corner kick from the right-hand side, tunnel corner. Dow goes short towards the front post. Williamson will pick it up and hold off his marker. Cochrane will load it into the penalty area. Pek Sung Ho rose well on the far side of the penalty area. Cambridge half clear, and then there goes diving in Paul Digby, and he comes out with possession, and then Okadina can tidy things up with the centre midfielder as Cambridge scramble it away. Anywhere will do in the opening 20 minutes for Cambridge, not looking for a teammate. And Christoph Clara picks up in the centre circle. 0-0.
Well, we can see visibly how cold it is this evening in the stadium, with the players' breath on the pitch getting thicker and thicker. But the supporters have not really bought into this. What are we, 18 minutes into the game, 18 and a half minutes. Just not had that spark or effort on goal yet.
Iwata, shooting position, opts to roll it out wide to Ethan Laird, who charges towards the byline on his right foot. His cross is deflected, and that allows Watts to head away, and Loft will help it on its way. The slice clearance from the former Scunthorpe man, who had a good spell in League Two a few years ago, scoring 15 goals in 60 appearances in the 4th tier. He had a flurry of goals at the start of that campaign as well for Scunthorpe. Made the step up to Cambridge, and has been a bit of a threat for them this season, and a season where goals have been something of a premium for Gary Monk's side. As Davis has it inside his own half for Blues. Cochrane steps into Cambridge territory. Anderson rolls it back to Ben Davis, and then sure it goes to Iwata. Clara on this near side steps inside of Ryan Loft, and Blues just moving Cambridge from left to right before Cochrane steps out and delivers into the penalty area. Nobody there for Blues. Barton brings it down inside the 18-yard box under pressure from Dowell. Didn't look confident in the clearance, and it's out in the clear. And Loft can look to link up with Barton on this near side. The 19-year-old rolls it back to the rather more experienced Kellen Watts. And Cambridge don't look confident at all playing it around at the back under that Blues pressure. But a loose touch from Davis sees Gold shirts flooding forward over the halfway line for the first time in the game. Poked out to this near side for Barton. Did he keep the ball in play? Linesman says no on this near side. Barton dumbfounded. Blues convinced. And just a spark of hope for Cambridge quickly extinguished.
Yeah, I think it's just a momentum that dipped perhaps for Birmingham. So different and so difficult after such a big atmosphere and size of game on Saturday evening to reproduce that form and atmosphere in the stadium for fans and players alike. It is very quiet in here. There's not an awful lot of good play from the opposition. It's almost like a training ground game. It's attack versus defence, but so important. They remain patient, but do try and get the gifted players certainly in and around the 18-yard box. You need them on the ball, and you need them to be taking chances. You can't have them scared to give the ball away. We're going to need a little bit of brilliance from one man in a blue shirt.
Iwata looking to provide that with a delightful ball out to Ethan Laird near side. Fancies his chances against Barton. Gets round the outside of him. Big challenge comes in the penalty area. Penalty! James Brobby it was in retreat. Ethan Laird has left Dan Barton for dust. Back came his teammate. Lent in on Ethan Laird just as he was looking to get the cross away. And after a slight delay, referee Darren Drydale points to the spot with authority.
Really good play from Ethan Laird. Positive, front foot, trying to get round his man, and the defender comes from nowhere. Makes no effort to play the ball. Defender grabbing onto him, and then he comes in with a shoulder barge. Yes, it is, but you still have to make an effort to play the ball.
Well, Kieran Dowell has got hold of the ball, but we've seen this routine before. Normally Alfie May is the man to stand on the spot before the elected striker steps up, and here we go. Jay Stansfield has scored 6 out of 6 penalties this season, including one in his last league game here against Rotherham. Tonight he's at the opposite end against Nathan Bishop, but Jay Stansfield steps up. Can he put us in a commanding position 22 minutes into the first half? Yes, he can! Stansfield straight down the middle. 7 out of 7 from the spot for Stano. And for Blues, it's back to business at the top of League One in no time at all. Stano from the spot again. Blues 1, Cambridge 0.
He's got a little bit fortunate, but it doesn't matter. It only has to go over the line. It doesn't have to touch the net. Even his celebration wasn't quite as silky as normal, but nevertheless, it's that opening goal of the game, and it was that bit of brilliance from Laird. Bishop stayed central for late and got his legs to it. Stansfield drives it down the middle. Often the case in a nervy situation. Perhaps didn't get the height that he wanted, but it's that opening goal and takes away those opening nerves. Almost 25 minutes into the game, certainly halfway through the first half, and it's exactly what everybody in the stadium wanted.
It's just what he does. The man who's been dependable on so many occasions this season converts his 18th goal of the campaign in all competitions, his 7th from the spot out of 7 spot kicks. He is just clinical. He is just deadly.
Well, he's probably had less touches in the game than any other Blues player, certainly.
And sorry, go on.
It's the most important one to put it into the net. Be interesting here just to see a replay of that. Clara's gone down after a challenge with Loft. I'm sure there is some contact with the arm. Not sure how malicious it was. Referee seems happy that it's just a free kick, nothing else. Yeah, he does catch him with his leading arm. You can see it. I'm not sure yet there's enough in it to collate it as an elbow.
Maybe a challenge born out of frustration. Loft is going to be an isolated figure up there this evening, as is proven by the opening 25 minutes. And now Blues have won a corner after some confusion at the back for Cambridge. The third worst defence in League One, concede their 30th goal away from home in the division. And now Blues with our fourth corner. So the corner comes to nothing as Nathan Bishop makes the claim. And Nathan Bishop kicks into the second City sky. Blues are under it. There goes Bennett. Juggle in there by Stevenson. And then Bishop under pressure from Stansfield. Rushes the clearance, out of play for a throw on the far side.
Well, he's got clearly close to the goalkeeper. He's had quite a big touch on a couple of occasions, and Stansfield obviously thinks he's got a chance of nicking the ball. That's the third or fourth time he's chased him down at full pace, and he looked like inches away yet again. Certainly something there for Jay Stansfield as he's closing down Bishop, who looks extremely shaky.
Yeah, didn't play an awful lot of games for Wickham. You know, the 3-2 defeat to Blues at the start of the season was only a handful that he played for the Chairboys. This just his second appearance for Cambridge. Nathan Bishop, after making his debut in that 1-1 draw with Lincoln. You know, Cambridge have shown they can be resilient over the past two games, two 1-1 draws against Wickham and Lincoln. But here it's Blues who have drawn first blood against the side rock bottom of League One and facing their first relegation for 20 years. Allsop clips it forward, looking for the inside run of Keshi Anderson. He's well marshalled by Liam Bennett. Well, Moons, again, the game's sort of slightly plateauing again. Pace-wise, this will sort of suit Cambridge. Will they be happy that the Blues have just had the ball on the periphery? And I'm sure Gary Monk will be frustrated that their concession has come through a penalty.
Yeah, he'd be very, very frustrated. But having said that, before the game, if they could get to half-time at 1-0, I'm sure they'd take that and then try and come out a little bit more forward-thinking in the second half.
Peck drives Blues forward towards the edge of the 18-yard box. Offloads to Anderson. The ball whipped in by Cochrane. It's towards Ethan Laird. He's beaten in the air by Barton at the back stick. Iwata gives one for Ben Davies to give chase. Luckily, Cambridge are so deep that there's no one within 20 yards of Ben Davies, so he can retrieve the ball at a jogging pace and find Iwata. And now Laird just can't grasp onto Jay Stansfield's nudged ball out to him on this near side as we approach the half-an-hour mark, and Blues lead by a goal to nil, courtesy of our top goal scorer Jay Stansfield.
Yeah, it's just a little bit lackadaisical from both teams. It's for a stadium with as many people in it as this has tonight, St Andrews at Knighthead Park. It's very, very quiet, and they're waiting for the players to entertain them, and it's so difficult. Always much harder on a cold, frosty night, but also when there's so much difference in the gulf of class between the two playing teams. One desperately wants possession of the ball and to win the game. The other just wants to hang on and hold into it and give themselves a chance of nicking a goal late on.
Clara steps over the halfway line and finds Laird down this near side. Ethan Laird, shaped to cross, will deliver. It's blocked by James Brophy, the man who conceded the penalty for his barge on Ethan Laird just 5 minutes ago. Cochrane on the left-hand side, rolls it out to Keshi Anderson on the far touchline in front of the lower cop. Cochrane again, no avenue forward, rolls it back to Ben Davies. Iwata. What we're doing though, Moons, you say Cambridge making it difficult to break down, and Blues having to work hard. It's wearing those Cambridge legs down, which is certainly a focus of Chris Davis's play against these templated teams, as Laird skips past Barton and then Iwata hits it. Maybe not as ferociously caught as he did on Saturday evening, and it took a deflection as well on its way through, which may have taken the sting out of it, but that deflection does take it behind for a corner kick.
Yeah, it's really good play from Jay Stansfield initially, gets it out to Laird, well weighted pass, and he's just tried to side foot that one in instead of hitting it with his laces like he did on Saturday. He's just tried to side foot it into the corner, and it's taken a slight deflection off a Cambridge calf.
So Dal from this near side, the left-footed delivery is long this time. Clara is round the back, Morrison challenging him very much. Clash of the Titans as Christoph Clara goes up with Michael Morrison, and it's the former Blues man, the Cambridge captain, who wins the free kick from the towering Austrian.
Yeah, I'd love to see them take Morrison out of that area, because he's the one that goes and attacks it. So if he's marking Clara, sometimes you have to take him out of that area, because Morrison will follow him and almost accept that, yes, Clara might be your best of attacker of the ball, but we've also got other players that can attack it on a set piece. So take out their biggest defensive asset and see how it works.
Blues have been so successful from corner kicks recently. Of course, Ethan Laird's opener after 40 seconds against Newcastle United had seen that it had only conceded one goal from a corner prior to Saturday evening. Did come from that same side, tunnel corner, as Ryan Alsop shows some slick footwork to find Iwata edge the 18-yard box. Just always looks so unfazed, Ryan Alsop, despite gold shirts lingering on his shoulder.
I think given that he's only probably had 2 or 3 touches of the ball as well in the opening half an hour, just shows you his confidence of his technical ability with his feet. And certainly the players around him look composed and trust him enough.
Yeah, returning between the sticks after Bailey Peacock-Farrell was elected as the cup goalkeeper by Chris Davis, and was unlucky, of course, with that equaliser that's been debated and conferred upon after Joe Willock fired towards goal. Was it over the line? Wasn't it over the line? Was the linesman close enough to make the call? As Cambridge again bring the game to a walking pace on that far side. Akadina in no rush to take this throw-in down the Cambridge right. It's flicked on by Loff, but it's a Blues foot that gets on it, and Davis can roll it back to Ryan Alsop. Alsop edge of the box. Launches towards Keshi Anderson. Keshi won't get there. Just overhit by Ryan Alsop off the mark, throwing Cambridge.
I think that's the difference that we've probably seen in the last 6 or 7 games, is that they do look to go longer for far quicker than they would have previously. In the opening stages of the campaign, it was all about passing and movement and switch of play. Now they're willing to go a little bit longer, and it just makes it so much harder to defend against for the opposition, home or away. You've got the pace of Laird and Keshi Anderson down the left-hand side. Utilise it.
Yeah, and especially this sort of calendar year and festive period, you've really seen Laird very obviously be that figure on this right-hand side, that outlet in that lopsided back four. And as you say, against these teams that play this sort of template, very much operating as a right winger rather than a right back. And that's where he's been so effective.
And I think it's because you can trust Clara to play a little bit wider. Ben Davies in that central spot seems far more comfortable to come over and control the middle of the pitch if Clara comes out wider right. But it also suits Ethan Laird. He's a far better footballer going forward than he is defensively, so utilise what you have within your squad, and they're certainly doing that with Laird.
That's a good steal by Keshi Anderson, deep towards the left-hand side. Anderson onto his right foot, whips it across to Moki Iwata. Cries of shoot again as Iwata receives the ball about 40 yards out from goal. Cochrane will whip it in. Stansfield's up with the glancing header, but it bounces well wide of the mark in the end from Jay Stansfield. Had to generate all the power himself with the cross just coming away from goal, and Stansfield on his hind leg slightly, and it proved the finish. 1-0 Blues lead.
Yeah, it wasn't such a well-paced goal-scoring cross, but the pleasing thing for me is you've got Willemsen, Stansfield and even Ethan Laird coming in on the back post there. Earlier on in the game you only had one blue shirt in the box when there was a cross coming in. This time you've got three.
And you see Chris Davis desperate to get a ball back in play as quickly as possible. Seeing that intensity, that tempo. And Chris Davis is desperate to retain and strike while Cambridge are down in this first half, and maybe put this game to bed in 45.
He knows how much more relaxing a second goal would be prior to half-time. The Cambridge goalkeeper Bishop looks very, very nervy, and it's only going to get worse for him when he goes in front of the Blue Noses at the far end in the second half. But that second goal is vital. We talked about the first one earlier on. The second on a night like this, with such a dominance of possession for Birmingham, is arguably just as valuable as the first one.
And it's interesting that Pek Sung-ho I've already seen him within about 5 yards of Tomoki Iwata this evening. He's just hogging the position on that far side, so he can do just that and pick out Ethan Laird with a delightful ball out to this near side, the opposite wing. Barton thought he got the better of Laird, but the last touch came off the young left wing back and behind for a Blues corner, our 6th of the evening.
I think it's interesting you make that point, Matt, because Cambridge have had no possession, so why do we need two sitting midfielders? So I think whether it's come from the staff or the player, acknowledge that and change your shape.
So our 6th corner in 36 minutes, and they've gone short towards Peck, and Peck returns to Dowell, and a shooting position for Alex Cochrane, but he's charged down by Stevenson. Comes out to Iwata, looked towards this near side, the right, but there wasn't a blue shirt out here, so Iwata had to turn back and find Alsop, who's almost operating as a deep line centre midfielder, linking play up. That's how deep Cambridge are from that corner kick. Stansfield can't get any change out of Barton this time as he looks to run him down the right touchline, and it goes out of play for a throw-in.
Still showing that flexibility and the rotation of players within the shape. We talked about Dowell being out on the left-hand side as opposed to starting on the right. Stansfield's coming out wide. Willemsen's going in as the furthest man. Iwata and Peck are organising it themselves almost. So important the players take responsibility and do that while the ball is moving, as opposed to waiting to get in the dressing room at half-time and the analysts and the staff picking up on those points. If you've got players who are adaptable and concentrated enough and confident enough to change it while the ball's rolling, it's so much more beneficial.
Dowell picks it up out of the melee. That's a great pick out for Keshi Anderson down this right-hand side. Good improvisation by Dowell. A decent cross by Keshi Anderson, and it's turned into his own net by Liam Bennett, who was blindsided. Deceived by the cross on this near side. Brilliant link-up play between Dowell and Anderson. The awareness from Kieran Dowell and the execution out of a tight corner to find Keshi Anderson. And Bennett, under pressure from Willemsen at the back post, turns into his own net, and Blues are 2 up and cruising before the break.
Yeah, well, it's a good run from Anderson into a gaping hole, and Dowell tried to put him in the first time, and ironically the deflection comes to him so quick he still knows that Anderson is in that little gap there, so he didn't even have to think twice about it. And it is a wonderful ball in from Keshi Anderson. And yes, it's unfortunate for the defender, but it's the quality of the ball and the pressure of Willemsen on that back post. You can see again the goalkeeper, nobody anywhere near him, but he doesn't even think about coming to collect that and help his defender out. But it is that second goal, and it's like men against boys at the moment. It really is. It's the under-16s playing against the first team, which sometimes can be very, very difficult. But when you break down those doors by getting the early goals, it makes it so much easier.
And now Blues are really enjoying it, and Stansfield's been found, and he can link up with Keshi Anderson, and he will leave it for Kieran Dowell, and that is a brilliant third goal. 3 goals for Blues, and 5 minutes before half-time, maybe already 3 points for Blues. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Blues at our very best.
Well, Iwata catches the eye on Saturday, but that for me is a better goal. It's a better team goal. It's about the unity within the team, the desire to run forward. 4 of them with perfect touches to their teammate, and then the knowledge from Kieran Dowell to know that you don't have to blast that because this goalkeeper's got no hands in his gloves. Just roll it in the corner of the net.
It's exhibition stuff from Blues, who strike twice within 2 minutes. Intricate build-up, expert execution. Kieran Dowell rolls his first Blues goal into the bottom corner in style. Blues 3, Cambridge United 0. And as we look to tighten our grip at the top of League One, Blues doing it in style. 3-0, 5 minutes before half-time. And the Blues analysts have just made their way to the changing rooms below us. I think their job's done for the first half. Wow, what a team goal. From defence to attack in a heartbeat. The awareness and execution.
It's the pace of the attack and the desire, but also, yes, it's much easier to play football when you've got time and space, but it's the awareness of the right pass at the right time.
Peck finds Cochrane, and Cochrane will cross. The header away only as far as Dowell. It's off the top of the crossbar. Blues inches away from a 4th, and we are carving Cambridge apart.
Well, again, it's poor defending, but it's also utilising your opportunities for Birmingham. Good balls into the box. They've got the most static back 5 I've probably seen at St Andrews at Knighthead Park this season. And they just can't take the movement and the correlation between moving it from left to right and then people attacking the middle of the pitch. Everybody wants in, everybody wants to score a goal. It's wonderful nights like these as a footballer.
You know, and as we said in the build-up, Moons, it could have been a case of the day after the Lord Mayor's show, as it were. After that, all the emotion and the occasion of Saturday night against Newcastle. But we were fools to even suggest that might be a possibility under Chris Davis. You know, he would have drilled it into these players that tonight is as if not more important than Saturday.
It's the integrity of a professional footballer, but it does sometimes become questioned when you don't reach the levels of performance week in, week out. We've seen it from Birmingham. And I've said it many times, a winning dressing room is the most wonderful place to be in. But it's not easy to get that winning dressing room, whether you're playing against Newcastle, who are flying high, or Cambridge, who are really struggling. But it's how you approach mentally and physically, how you approach that game. And certainly tonight, they've been patient, they've moved the ball well, they've created opportunities. But when the door's been opened for them by poor defending, or fabulous movement and fabulous touches of football, they've showed exactly how much it means to them to reach the levels of performance that's required and asked of them.
Peck, and I don't think you'll see a dominance as a half of this, proven, if you're into this sort of thing, by Cambridge's XG being 0.
Well, I don't think they've touched the ball in Birmingham's 18-yard box.
No.
And they've certainly not touched it much more closer than maybe 30 or 40 yards. We talked early doors about Ryan Loft being an old school number 9. I can only think he's touched it within 10 yards of the halfway line. There's been nothing really. They may have had one corner, have they, Cambridge? Never tested anybody. But that's also concentration levels defensively, and for the goalkeeper, you have to maintain those levels. Concentration, performance, attitude. Every box ticked in this opening almost 45 minutes. Cambridge players will just be hoping there's no injury time. Guaranteed they want to get in the dressing room.
Yeah, damage limitation territory for Cambridge in the dying embers of the first half. There's Christoph Clara, finds Ethan Laird on this near side. Kieran Dowell. Blues are opening the box of tricks now as Dowell finds Laird with the slick back heel. His cross, though, stabbed away by Morrison. Brophy will bring Cambridge forward over the halfway line. He goes down, but play continues because Loft has it on this near side. Loft measuring up Clara for size, looks to take on Christoph Clara. That's easier said than done. Clara dispossesses him, and then Loft, a challenge born out of frustration, clips the heels of the big Austrian, and Blues have a free kick, and we have 3 minutes of added time.
Certainly Clara comfortable with the confrontation
yes.
from Ryan Loft. Always winds you up more when players don't get involved, and Ryan Alsop there laughing at Ryan Loft, showing that there's no irritation when you're 3-0 up. Just laugh and smile at the opposition.
%80 possession to 20 as the first half statistic, but the main one, all that matters, is Blues 3, Cambridge United 0, and we've done so in a very professional fashion indeed. And now Clara finds Ethan Laird over the top down the right hand side, and Laird looking to pick someone out in the 6-yard box. It flashed across the 6-yard box. Keshi Anderson went down at the back post in a tussle with Liam Bennett. The referee this time, Drydale, nothing doing.
It wasn't a bad ball from Ethan Laird. He's controlled it very, very well, and it's a good ball across. There's just too much weight on it, and Anderson was too far in because it was such a quick break. He couldn't come in from the far side. But again, just shows you the ease of playing that longer pass, whether it's Anderson or Laird, down the left or the right. That ease of pass in behind looks so comfortable for Birmingham this evening.
Well, it may have taken 23 minutes to find the breakthrough, as we did from the penalty spot through Jay Stansfield, but the remaining 20 minutes of this half of seeing Cambridge take something of a drubbing. This man on the score sheet for his first goal in blue, which has been fully deserved for the contributions he's put in. Kieran Dowell in his 5 appearances since joining on loan from Rangers. He's in again, Kieran Dowell, down the right-hand side, one-on-one. But the prod was easily saved by Nathan Bishop as Kieran Dowell from the angle. It was against him. And the left-footed strike straight at the goalkeeper.
Well, it's a wonderful run from Dowell. He's initially had the ball on the halfway line. He's made the run in behind, and the angle of the way that the ball is spinning, it's difficult for him to get his left foot on that. If he was a right-footed player, he just rolls that into the far corner with his right foot. But just the way that it fell, I think he's tried to get a toe poke on it and just perhaps caught his studs. But wonderful movement and weight of passing yet again.
Barton on this near side, looking to take on Ethan Laird, drives infield into the penalty area. Barton's curling effort is blocked by Awata. Down goes Ethan Laird. Play will continue with Stevenson on this near side. He loses out to Christoph Clara, and then Clara can look to tidy things up with Ryan Alsop, and that just might increase Cambridge United's XG by a fraction at the end of the first half, which has been as dominant a first 45 minutes as you'll see. Top of League One versus bottom of the division, and that is a fair summary of what we've seen so far. Cambridge's resilience only lasted until 22 minutes when Ethan Laird was bundled over in the penalty area. Jay Stansfield stepped up from 12 yards to convert his 7th penalty out of 7 spot kicks. Kieran Dowell was vital to the second goal when he played through Keshi Anderson, whose cross diverted off Liam Bennett, and then Dowell himself helped himself to our third, his first in Blues colours, finishing off a delightful Well, welcome back. Both teams back out at St Andrews at Knightham Park, and after a scintillating first half of football from Blues and a dominant 45 minutes, as you'll see anywhere, Gary Monk has looked to the bench, and Josh Stokes and James Gibbons have come on. The man who scored the own goal, Liam Bennett, makes way, as well as the striker Loft. So Stokes and Gibbons on for Bennett and Loft, and Christian Bielik has come on for Blues to replace Tomoki Iwata. And Moons, you think that's just to save Iwata's legs, as Chris Davis feels like it might be job done.
Yeah, I think he also took a knock on Saturday's game as well, so it's a little bit of preservation. And it's so good when you can do that at half-time. You're so comfortable. Yes, you'd expect Cambridge to come out. I'm not sure what Gary Monk has got as a head coach and whether he can resurrect this game for his team. But certainly I think Bielik coming in just a little bit more dominant aerially. The balls will go in the box. But I'm sure every one of those Cambridge players wouldn't have minded for the first time in their careers being substituted at half-time, because they'll be wary of what's coming from a blue wave in this second half.
Yeah, as soon as that first spot kick was converted by Stansfield, there was just a sense of anticipation that wasn't going to be the last of action on the score sheet for Blues. And then two quick fire goals, Bennett turning into his own net, and a scintillating free-flowing move, brilliantly finished by Kieran Dowell. Added a third before half-time, and that's where we stand now. Blues 3, Cambridge United 0. Top versus bottom, and it certainly is showing. It's certainly damage limitation for Gary Monk and his side, and the team rock bottom of League One. Need something of a miracle, you feel, in this second half, if they're to take anything away from the second city to help their cause against relegation.
It's all about keeping the players hungry, making sure they're concentrated, doing their jobs in the relevant areas of the pitch, composed and calculated at the back and free-flowing through the middle of the pitch, and then get the ball to the forwards in and around the 18-yard box and let them get on the goal trail, because I guarantee you Stansfield will want more, Anderson will want to get on the score sheet, and Dowell will want another goal too.
Well, it looks like James Gibbons has slotted in on the left side of that defence for Cambridge, and Josh Stokes has gone up top. So Bishop in goal for Cambridge. Okadina, Morrison, Watts and Gibbons, with Barton operating in a more forward position down that left-hand side for Cambridge. Digby, Brophy, Stevenson, Kachunga and Stokes completes their 11. As for Blues, Allsop in goal, who's hardly had a thing to do apart from a couple of touches of the ball with his feet in that first 45. Laird, who's been unplayable again down that right-hand side for Blues. Clara, Davis and Cochrane. Bielik now partners Peck in the centre. Dowell the goal scorer. Willemsen, Anderson and Stansfield, who added to take his tally up to 18 from the spot.
Well, I think Cambridge, the changes have certainly altered their shape. I think they've matched them up. They've gone a 4-2-3-1, which is bold from Gary Monk. If that was the right plan, or plan A, they would have used it from the start. Not sure how they're going to work that against it, because Birmingham are so comfortable that they can bring on Bielik and put him in that holding role with Peake, who's been excellent from his first game back after a little spell out. They've got to push in this second half as well. I'm sure, you know, you'd expect them to be getting the ball in the box from set pieces, but they've taken off one of their best headers and goal scorers. So it's a strange scenario and setup for this second half, but it's all about Birmingham, how they adapt to it. How quickly can they win the ball back as they did in the first half?
Bielik cuts out an offensive ball by Cambridge, and Pek Sung-ho is just lost out there. Morrison goes diving in at the front of the attack for Cambridge United. And the ball hooked up by Okadina, helped up by Digby, brought down by Brophy. It's a neat pick out for Stokes, who was certainly a surprise omission from the team sheet Josh Stokes, the man on loan from Bristol City. The Robins actually picked him up from non-league AFC Sudbury. Attracted the attentions of the Robins scouting system, and now is leading the line for Cambridge United. But so far, 5 minutes into the second half, to no avail. Pek Sung-ho picks up the ball on the halfway line, looks to wrap the outside of his boot around the ball to find Keshi Anderson. Okadina, who now looks like he's operating in a right-back vicinity with the job of ushering Keshi Anderson. He got in the way of that one. Blues get on with the throw-in, and Peck finds Keshi Anderson. Bit of space, Williamson underlapping run. Williamson into the penalty area. The heads went up, and a combination of Morrison and Watts can head the ball to relative safety, and it's helped on its way back there by Stevenson for Cambridge. Kachunga holding off Ben Davis, and the ball's gone out of play as Cambridge look to get themselves out of a tight cul-de-sac, and Blues, when they're throwing in, Keshi Anderson will leave this for Alex Cochrane.
Well, there's no change in the hunger or desire to win the ball back from Blues in the opening stages of this second half. 3 surrounding every gold shirt.
Anderson neatly found in field by Cochrane. Good play in a tight corner from Blues. Dowell goes down, wants to give free kick. Referee uninterested. Peck will look to pick out Laird, far side of the penalty area. Laird can nod it down to Anderson. Anderson looking for a cute ball through to Stansfield, but it comes back to Keshi Anderson. A last-ditch sliding challenge comes in from James Gibbons and concedes the first corner of the second half, and that goes Blues' way. Good combination play from Blues on the edge of the penalty area.
It's amazing when you're 3-0 up how much everybody wants the ball, isn't it? It is a lovely situation to be in.
Corner kick comes in from that far side. The header is by Bielik. The header's over the bar by the Blues captain. But already displaying that threat of from those set pieces you spoke of.
Yeah, he attacks the ball so well, doesn't he? Christian Bielik in both 18-yard boxes, and I'm sure he's a manager's dream. He's not an Iwata or a Paik in possession of the ball, but what he is a vital cog in the wheel of a promotion-winning team.
Yeah, and 7 minutes into this second half, since being introduced, Christian Bielik is already nearly had his shirt tugged from his torso after that corner kick. As Blues spread it to that far side, Ethan Laird giving Barton a run down the right-hand side again for Cambridge. Laird looking to pick out Williamson. The header away is by Morrison towards this near side. Laird picks up. Cochrane provides the overlapping run. Anderson ignores him, and Anderson will scoop it in with his right foot. Just work the angle, but that's out again by the former Blue, Michael Morrison. And it's back with Ben Davis in the Blues half. Clara. So certainly a glimpse of a bit of fight from Cambridge at the start of the second half, but normal service resumed for Blues as we tick into the 8th minute of this second period. You spoke about the change of formation for Cambridge as Blues come down the right-hand side. Stansfield fires the ball across. Williamson, point-blank save by Bishop to deny Willem Williamson.
That's textbook wonderful forward play. Good little combination, get the ball into a wide area, and just so often when a striker is in a wide area, he knows exactly what ball to deliver, and Williamson this time was in a perfect spot. The goalkeeper knows very little about it, but he's kept his team in the game.
Blues still in the hunt down the right-hand side. Dowell looking to combine with Laird, shouts for handball against the retreating Gibbons. Nothing doing, the shouts coming from Dowell and Laird, and the quadrants of the left-hand side of the Tilton, but the referee unmoved, and play resumes with Bishop. Bishop goes long, looking for Josh Stokes, the second half substitute. He won't win a header against Clara. The loose ball breaks for Keshi Anderson. Anderson measured it up just over the bar from Keshi Anderson, got under it.
Again, it's Bielik who wins the ball back in the middle of the Cambridge half. Clara wins his header. Bielik gets the ball down, a little bit fortunate, but you can see his eyes light up there. Keshi Anderson with a strike from 22 yards out. I think he's just tried to hit the valve of the ball he's gone for all-out power instead of placing it in the corner of the net. But I'm sure there'll be more opportunities for Anderson tonight.
Yeah, we were just speaking with Darren Carter at half-time, who's also here in the Blues press box, and he's pointed out that Keshi Anderson, I think, won't get a goal involvement for either of the goals that he could be seen to be involved with, because I don't think he touched the ball onto Dowell for his third, and obviously the own goal for Liam Bennett won't be attributed to Keshi.
No, but as far as his teammates and the supporters are concerned, certainly for Dowell's goal, it's knowledge of the space in and around you, and that tactical nous of not being greedy enough to touch the ball. If you know, you let it go for one of your teammates and he's in a fabulous position to roll it in the net. It's good play from Keshi Anderson, but Karts is absolutely right. Statistically, anybody that's not here won't know how well he's done.
Yeah, and this season, Keshi Anderson, he's just come charging back from that injury-laden season he had last campaign, and there's been a sort of non-negotiable now on the team sheet as far as Chris Davis is concerned down this left-hand side. And now it's Williamson charging down the left flank, and Williamson looks in field towards Keshi Anderson. It's a brave header back by Gibbons on the edge of his 18-yard box to Bishop, but the pace of the ball got back to the Cambridge United goalkeeper, and the away side have survived 10 minutes into this second half rather unscathed. But Morrison's given it away to Cochrane, and Cochrane can slip through Stansfield, and Stansfield turns, and Stansfield goes down, and that's a penalty. Blues get another penalty 10 minutes into the second half. Stansfield too tricky, too nimble. The contact was on him. He felt it and went down, and the referee, after a slight delay, points to the spot for a second time this evening.
I actually think Jay Stansfield, he's done brilliant to get into that position, but he's got fortunate because he didn't want to hit it with his left foot. He wanted it on his right, and he's had too big a touch really and ran into the defender, but the contact suggests it is a penalty. It stopped him getting a further shot away, but he gets another opportunity from the spot to get that second goal that he bitterly wants. Be interesting because his first one was a nervy penalty. He didn't get it as high as he wanted. If you don't get it above keeper's thigh height, he's always got a chance of saving it with his feet. Wouldn't surprise me if this is pace in a corner.
Jay Stansfield, this time Tilton End goes eye to eye with Nathan Bishop for the second time this evening. This time it's saved by Nathan Bishop. Same sort of penalty as we saw in the first half, and this time the trailing legs of the Cambridge United goalkeeper match Stansfield's penalty, and it spins behind for a corner. Resultant corner kick comes in. Blues bodies charging towards it. There, Stansfield can't turn it in from the angle. Cambridge United bodies throwing themselves in front of the ball, and it's behind for a second consecutive corner, Moons.
Yeah, well, he's hit that penalty just equally as bad as he did the first one. Got a little bit of luck. There was no luck on that occasion because the goalkeeper did save it with his feet. He'll be kicking himself, but he'll also be wanting to get into another goal-scoring area.
And now the Cambridge penalty area under siege from these resultant corner kicks. Our third in quick succession. Cochrane sprays it to Pek Sung-ho, who hits a rocket. Plenty of venom, but it was straight down the throat of Nathan Bishop. Either side of the Cambridge United goalkeeper, you'd see the net rippling.
Well, it's only took 13 minutes or so, but Cambridge are on the ropes. The corner would be throwing the towel in if it was a boxing match, because Birmingham have maintained their enthusiasm and their professionalism in this second half. Yes, Stansfield will be really annoyed with himself for not striking the penalty, as he knows he can. It is a difficult place to take a penalty at that end, I have to say. Took a few myself, both for and against Birmingham. But still, he's that mentality. He just wants to score goals. It's a free hit with a penalty, but he will get one in open play, I'm certain of it. The way Cambridge are going, this is just going to be a battle of attrition.
That's a neat ball for Cambridge, forward to Stokes, right-hand side of the box, looks to put it on a plate for Kachunga, but back there, no prizes for guessing who was on the cover. Ben Davies to turn behind.
It just shows you the difference in confidence levels. He should be getting that out of his feet and testing. Ryan Alsop there, but he's looking for somebody else that's not there. When the opposition come to St Andrews and they're in this scenario, they're at a point where they don't want to make any mistakes and they're happy to give the ball to somebody else.
So an hour in, Cambridge United finally throwing a punch. Corner towards the back post is headed over, but the whistle had gone way before Okadina made contact with it for an infringement, and the free kick goes Blues' way. And Cambridge are going to make another 2 throws of the dice from the bench. Jordan Cousins is going to come on first, and he will replace Ben Stevenson, the man guilty for giving away the second penalty. So Gary Monk with 2 more gambles from the bench. Brendan Njoku coming on for Elias Kachunga. And then 2 Blues changes as well, as Willem Willemsen on his first start since the start of the new year. Lasts an hour, and he'll be replaced by Lyndon Dykes, and Scott Wright is going to replace the ever industrious Keshi Anderson, whose involvement in 2 goals tonight has been imperative once again.
Again, very much like the Iwata substitution, when you're in this position you can make tactical and smart decisions on areas where you might weaken your team but still strong enough to see this game through. Willemsen getting an hour under his belt, Keshi Anderson another 60 minutes of football to aid his fitness, and another opportunity for Wright to come into the team and show what he can do.
Njoku, his first involvement is to look to find Barton. Now he's out of position, and Blues looking to exploit that as Ethan Laird charges down the right flank. He's got Dowell beyond him. Here is Kieran Dowell up against Cousins. His left-footed cross is deflected. Stansfield looks to get there first. Shrugged off by Digby. Ruffy took a chance under pressure from Jay Stansfield, the Blue striker, lingering on his shoulder. And Cambridge do just about enough to find the halfway line with the clearance. Pek Sung-ho with a loose touch. There's a collector's item. And then Pek goes diving in, trying to retrieve the ball, and catches the Cambridge United player. And the free kick goes the Hughes way. Blues lead by 3-0. Jay Stansfield seeing his second penalty saved by Nathan Bishop 10 minutes into the second half. As the moment, it's small mercies for Gary Monk's Cambridge United side. Little pirouette by Stansfield escapes Cousins. And now Dowell, intricate play by Blues, edge of the penalty area. Lyndon Dykes, though, couldn't find a teammate, and Njoku puts his body between man and ball, feels the contact, goes down. Cambridge United free kick. Just got a bit scrappy in the past 2 minutes or so since those substitutions.
Yeah, you probably expect that in a second half with a game like this. It's about how quickly can they stay on the front foot, Birmingham, and close down the possession of Cambridge. You can see Morrison's wants his goalkeeper to take this free kick. I'm not sure who they've got to go and win headers against this strong defensive unit now of Bielik dropping in, Clara, Davis. When the goalkeeper kicks it out of play like that, they don't need to win a header. But even at 3-0 up, you know, the quick free kick, they want to keep stepping on, they want to impress their teammates, their staff, the supporters. It's been a dominant performance. They don't want to take their foot off the gas.
And Blues looking for a fourth, and Michael Morrison misjudged that header. Luckily for him, the pace of the ball took it through to Nathan Bishop with Scott Wright lurking. Bishop fires forward, and Joku the target as well as Barton. It's outrun him, and Ryan Alsop has a rare piece of fielding to do in his own penalty area. And he's going to get the ball back from Ben Davies as well to earn his keep. And Joku, the single man, providing the press for Cambridge, but Blues calmly playing around it. Davies in no rush at all. It's been patient, it's been purposeful, it's been so professional and effective from Blues so far for 65 minutes. Cambridge United look crestfallen. They look lax of ideas. And Blues, it's just a waiting game. A game of anticipation as to whether we can go and get that fourth.
Yeah, it's unnecessary, because I think the game's won. And it's very rare that I'd say that with half an hour to go, having seen most scenarios throughout my career. But yeah, 3-0 up at home. The supporters starting to make a noise. Still the hungriest team on the pitch. Still have that desire to win the ball back as early as you can, work as hard as you can. Unlikely that Cambridge can get back in it, but we've just seen them have one opportunity, the one and only one they've had. But then we also look at Wright and Stansfield closing down the Cambridge fullback. Shows you how much desire they've got.
Yeah, the hunger is still there, and Blues looking to get on with the throwing quickly. Across comes Michael Morris, and last-ditch defending. And he's points his frustrations towards the referee as to why Scott Wright was allowed to take that throw-in the position he did. But Blues have profited from the corner kick. So Dowell from this near side, the left in front of the Tilton. Bielik's up, Dykes is there, Clara's a target as well. Dowell into the penalty area. It's a tug back on Stokes, I think that was, for Cambridge by Stansfield, and the free kick goes the U's way, and a slight bit of respite for them, but now a cause for concern because it looks like Kelland Watts has gone down in the penalty area, swiftly back to his feet. He was the one that was meant to be rested this evening by Gary Monk for the majority of the game, but was a last-minute emergency addition to the starting 11 after Danny Andrews withdrew with an injury in the warm-up. And it's not as if Cambridge are blessed with reserves. And well, it was always going to be the side with the worst away form in the division against the side with one of the best home forms in the division. If we see this through, it will be 13 victories from 19 games in all competitions. The only 2 defeats here at St Andrews for Blues, both against Premier League opposition.
Yeah, but I think you look at the level of performance from both teams tonight, that confirms their league positions. Arguably the best team in the division against one that's struggling so much. That is definitely a flailing arm. I'm not sure whether it was a bent elbow, but it's a big contact on Clara. He's gone and won that header, not for the first time tonight.
It might be Cochrane, actually.
I think you're right, it is Cochrane. But he's won the header as if Clara would. It was a towering, brave header. He's took a right clump to the face.
I mean, he's got straight back to his feet. Alex Cochrane still sporting that black eye that he suffered early on against Newcastle. Ironically enough, Christophe Clara has gone down, not involved with that collision, just feeling his lower back, Clara.
I actually think in the previous corner, 30 seconds, a minute ago now, you could see that one of the Blues players had the shirt pulled right up off of his back, so much so that I didn't know who it was because his number had disappeared. But I think it was Clara, having seen the replay. I don't know whether one of the defenders just had a hold of his shoulder, perhaps landed a little bit awkwardly, that's jarred his back or something like that.
So Clara just taking his time to get some attention, and Gary Monk has called his players over to try and dish out some advice of inspiration. as we see the goals reel off. First by Stansfield from the spot. Great improvisation and vision from Dowell and execution. Keshi's ball in, difficult to defend, and Bennett under pressure from Willemsen turned it into his own net. But the best was yet to come. A free-flowing move executed by Kieran Dowell for his first Blues goal. And Grant Hanley is going to come on for Christoph Klara. No chances being taken with the big Austrian, who's just felt something in his lower left back / hip. So Grant Hanley will come on to bolster things at the back.
Well, you definitely, when you're in this situation, you don't want to weaken your team for your next opposition. And Klara has certainly been that dominant centre-back leader. So if he needs a rest, Grant Hanley's certainly a capable substitution, certainly against this opposition. You can wrap Christoph Klara up, a little bit of cotton wool, and get him ready for the weekend.
Yeah, and a big game at the weekend against playoff-seeking Charlton, who have catapulted themselves back into contention after 4 wins in their last 5, currently drawing 1-1 with Peterborough, who are looking over their shoulder themselves. But Nathan Jones bringing his Charlton side to St Andrews on Saturday, as Ethan Laird looks to be found down the right-hand side. Across comes Kellen Watts with a no-nonsense clearance into the lower cop. And of course, the 4th of 4 home games in a row just put in the calendar. Bradford City at home in that semi-final of the Virtue Trophy. And St Andrews filling up nicely in the allocation as Jay Stansfield's found in the penalty area. Stansfield onto his left foot, charged down by Morrison, picked up by Cochrane after Morrison's block out. Scott Wright into Stansfield on the turn. Bishop level to it though. Stansfield struck through the crowd from the edge of the 18-yard box.
Good play again from Wright. Intelligent movement from Cochrane. Stansfield desperation to get another shot on target. Cambridge goalkeeper now has made 4 or 5 comfortable saves. Just shows you the desire of Jay Stansfield. He wants to rat, he wants to get in the faces of defenders, and he wants goals. He'll be bitterly disappointed that he's missed the penalty, which is a free hit, but nevertheless his performance tonight has been top work rate, top teamwork, and a goal to match.
Bielik, great strength, great perseverance, and wins the free kick from the young Dan Barton. "19 goal attempts now to 1. And Ryan Allsop still yet to make a save. As Hanley plays it square to Davis. Davis will look long and diagonally towards Laird. Laird will scoop it over the top, looking for Stansfield. He's in behind here. Jay Stansfield leaves it for Dykes. Dykes up against Morrison. Dykes will spread it out to Scott Wright. Wright looks to tee someone up in the middle. The header is back towards Scott Wright, just losing his footing, but recovers well and looks to tee up Bielik. And the shot through the crowd straight at Bishop again. Blues are like a cat with a mouse at the moment.
It is like a training ground game. Cambridge dropping so deep every time Birmingham get it. Ball just doesn't look to be rolling for Birmingham at the moment. It's stumbling. They might be having a poor touch, or the ball's bobbling, but they just can't get that comfortable strike off that they managed to do in the first half. The only bonus is everything seems to be on target at the moment. They're not missing the target as they did in the first half on a couple of occasions. But the goalkeeper, Nathan Bishop, is making saves, but they're not really tough ones to make.
Just the turn of pace from Stansfield in that build-up against Kellen Watts, who has really stuck on his hind legs to create the chance. And then Dykes got it caught under his feet under pressure from Morrison. And then Scott Wright tripped over the ball. And then the shot from Bielik, as you say, through the crowd straight at Nathan Bishop, which made the save comfortable for the Cambridge United goalkeeper. Small mercies for the team rock bottom of League One. And really being put through their paces here at St Andrews as Davis clips over the top. Oh, what a touch by Wright, but the offside flag up in denial against the Scotsman for a goal-scoring opportunity.
Yeah, he knew where he wanted it. He just went a little bit early. It was only 1 or 2 steps early. But then look at his desire to win the ball back.
Luke Harris being readied by Chris Davis on the sideline. As you say, this is where the luxury kicks in to have this squad depth and be able to get players who are maybe on the fringes of things minutes in the legs. As Blues once again just not really getting out of second gear at the moment in the second half. Poor clearance right out in the clear, picked up by Bielik, hands on the head by Chris Davis as Bielik gives the ball away, but Blues lucky that Cambridge couldn't create anything. A frustrated animation by Josh Stokes towards his teammates. Allsop this time slips but still finds Scott Wright to a pin. Wright though can't find Stansfield or Dykes on the Cambridge back line. That's a wayward pass over there by
we spoke about it in the first half. It's a wonderful attribute to have for a goalkeeper that strikes the ball and passes the ball as well as Ryan Allsop does. And instead of breaking teams down with small and sharp passes, you have the option of going long because he's so direct and so accurate.
So Pek Sung Ho